Welcome to Festpod, the unofficial download festival guide. I'm Neil Wilkinson. This is the place for news and rumours about the festival, advice for going, and your chance to get involved and ask your questions too. So now let's welcome my fellow hosts. First of all, we've got Lee Ellingham.
Hello.
How you doing? All right?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. You?
I'm in lockdown, so I'm tucked up in Manchester. But you're not quite so tucked up down in the south, are you?
No, not quite yet.
We've also got Dave Kingdon over in Cornwall. Hi, Dave.
Good afternoon.
Is it nice? I always think of Cornwall as being nice and sunny, which makes me happy. Is that right?
It's very sunny today, actually.
Oh, gorgeous! And you've got
Bit
palm
chilly,
trees.
but...
Yeah, it's like another country, but Cornwall. So find us on the socials by looking for Festpod, and you can even send us a voice message by going to anchor.fm/Festpod and clicking on message. Say hi, ask our advice about download, or just chime in with whatever you like. That's at anchor.fm/Festpod and just click on message. So, let's get started with the download news. So, we've got quite a lot of bands who are looking at performing. I guess they're really bored and are trying to put gigs on, aren't they?
Yeah, so I think read that Corey Taylor, huge name, always a download favourite, whether he's with Slipknot or Stone Sour. He did a stream at the beginning of October, which I believe went down very well, as you would, as he is so popular. More recently, Boston Manor did a stream at the top of the Blackpool Tower.
No way!
Yeah, I did. You know what? I didn't see it. I didn't watch it. But with a band like Boston Manor, I know it went down. Went down quite well. So yeah, at the top of Blackpool Tower. So I assume they were swaying everywhere as they were as they were performing.
This is a great idea, because I was just thinking to myself the other day how much I miss going out and going to either a gig or a concert or anything at all. And I was trying to think what was the last thing that I went to. And I could not remember at all what the last gig I went to was. Can you remember what yours was?
Mine was Volbeat last September.
Oh,
so it's been over a year. It's been over a year now since I last went to a gig.
Mine was actually Dream Theatre not that long ago. It was February, I think.
Dream Theatre.
That was a long time ago.
Well, yeah.
You realise we're in October now.
Yeah, now you mention it, but
yeah, I'm really. So I think this is the only way, isn't it? Really, streaming gigs. I mean, it's not got the same atmosphere at all, but at least you get to see, a band perform and feel like you're part of something.
I feel bad for the bands because their only income, or their biggest income, is when they perform their shows. So if they don't have any gigs to perform at, then they're not getting a ton of money coming in like they usually would. And I mean, I've said this on my socials 100,000 times, and I say it again. If we want our favourite bands, our small-time bands to still be performing this time next year, then we need to be buying the streams and buying their merchandise. I can't tell you how many pieces of merchandise I've bought from a band called Envisions in the last year. But I mean, I ordered something again last week because I actually love them. I think they're a brilliant band, and I would hate to see a band like that have to call it a day.
Yeah, exactly. It's so important that we support the people who we know are not getting a lot of work at the moment. You know, this is a great idea, streaming gigs. I mean, I haven't actually seen any come up on my social media. I haven't seen anything that I could buy a ticket for just yet. So it looks like quite a new thing. Are many people doing this?
It seems there's a lot of bands doing it in the last couple of months. I think they might just be thinking, right, this is the only way we're going to be able to perform, and the only way we're going to be able to get some sort of income is if we do these streams. Because the majority of the announcements for streams that I've seen have only been in the last couple of months. I mean, there is one band I know of that is actually doing a live gig in Walthamstow. They're doing 3 days. But in regards to like streaming that, I think it's a relatively new thing, just so they can perform, they can do something.
What do you think, Dave? Would you stream a gig?
Yeah, I've watched a couple actually. Sort of more like lesser known bands, not necessarily that would play it download, but they've all tried to like make a bit of a production out of it rather than just stood in a room playing their instruments. So I think they're trying to sort of give as much value as they can.
And how is it to watch the stream? I mean, do you enjoy it? I mean, obviously it's not the same as going to a gig, but how do you enjoy it, watching it?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot of scope for interaction. So like if it's on YouTube or something with the chat, there's no reason why they couldn't like request a song or ask someone to request a song and then they just play it there and then. So it's a bit of a different experience than going to an actual gig where they've got everything already planned out.
I think we're looking at the future here, really, aren't we? Just for the next however many months.
Hopefully not a permanent thing. I mean, I think it's a great idea for while the venues are shut and we can't actually go to the gigs. But I wouldn't like to think of it as if this would be the new normal.
So there's a few. I know you've got a list of a few there, haven't you? Who has been looking at doing this?
So, like I said, Corey Taylor's done it. Boston Manor have done it, I believe. Creeper, they will be doing a show on the 31st of October. And from my notes here, it's going to be in Walthamstow in London, and it's going to be like an all-day party. Where I can't remember now whether it's actually going to be it's a 12 till 10. So the venue might be open. This venue will be open and they will be doing some sort of performance during the day, which I guess that's another avenue. Gigs and that could be earlier.
Well, yeah.
I mean, there is a band called Black Peaks, a band that I discovered at Download last year who I really, really enjoyed. They've got together with Signature Brewery in Walthamstow, and they're doing 3 social distance dates on the 9th to the 11th of November.
Oh, so this is an actual gig that people can go to?
Yeah, it's sold out. Every time they announce the dates, within 5 minutes, every day sold out. So they put tickets on at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. They sold out within 5 minutes for one day. And they said, right, we're going to do it again tomorrow. And they sold out instantly.
Dave, I know how much you love going to gigs. Would you risk going to a gig, even if it was socially distanced at this time?
I think I would, because it's just the whole experience, isn't it? And as long as everyone's complying with the distancing and the masks and all that sort of stuff, it's no different than just popping to the supermarket or anything like that. Obviously, there'd be a decrease in the capacity, and you wouldn't be able to sort of jump around as much as you would normally. But it's still the experience of seeing a band live.
The venue itself isn't huge, so obviously the numbers they've got, I assume, like you say, are going to be quite low. I mean, I agree with Dave. I mean, because of everything that's obviously happened this year, if someone said to me, here's some tickets, go for it, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. The only reason that I didn't get tickets, got a lot going on around that time of the year anyway, but it's just going from where I live into London, I'd have to pass millions of people going through the tube, and that's the only thing that's put me off about doing a gig at the minute. I'd love to do it. I mean, if there's something local to me, I wouldn't hesitate. But having to go on the tube and go through London, especially as that's now on a high tier on the lockdown, it's just something that, I'm a little bit apprehensive of.
And I don't know if you've seen actually, but I've seen people complaining about people not wearing masks on the tube, which doesn't bode well, to be honest.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, that's just, from my point of view, I think that's just, it's unfair to those of us that do want to wear them. I mean, these people that, again, they're unknowingly, even if they're asymptomatic, they haven't got any symptoms, they're going to be able to pass it around. They may have it, for all they know, and they could pass it around.
This is
so. I mean, So we, it's the tube especially. It's dirty at the best of times.
Yeah. Well, there's rats running through it, isn't there?
Mice, rats,
poo flying around.
Going on to a little bit of a tangent. It's quite a spectacle actually when you do see these mice just creeping along the lines and under the tracks. You're like, oh look, it's mice.
It is weird, isn't it? Yeah, I know what you mean. But with there is some potential good news in terms of a 5-minute turnaround COVID test. This
could be amazing. This could really make festival season actually happen. We don't have to have a vaccine by then, obviously, but fingers crossed we will. Fingers crossed we'll have one sooner.
Yeah.
But I mean, this 5-minute turnaround test that apparently is either near completion or it's been completed by the students at Oxford Uni, the scientists, not just students, scientists. You can take the test, and in 5 minutes you've got a result. And I mean, we spoke last time regarding a 20-minute turnaround test, which could obviously make queues go on forever.
Oh, it would be hell, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a 5-minute turnaround test. You could take about 10, 20 people at a time.
Yeah.
Here's your test. Take it, and then you've got your negative or positive result in front of you. The only problem I can see with it is that what if there is one person that is positive? What happens then? Because we've all been exposed.
Yeah, in the time that they've been queuing with us all, then they could easily have passed it around. I mean, I guess the only thing you could do is make sure that everyone wears a mask. But even then, people can't wear masks properly because they have them hanging around the chin, they have the nose hanging out. But even if people have got masks on, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be effective either.
I don't see the big problem wearing a mask at a festival. The amount of people you see that are wearing masks at a festival anyway. I know Slipknot. Obviously, Slipknot are the masked 9-piece band. Last year, most people wore masks because it was Slipknot. But I mean, what's wrong with putting like a bandana around over your nose and over your mouth? I see that all the time.
And to be honest, some of them look really cool. You can get some really nice ones, can't you?
Oh, there you go. Exactly. You might even get a free one at that Zippo, that spin wheel Zippo thing that we did last year.
That competition thing where you spin the wheel and you get a prize based on what number comes out. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you could easily. If people don't capitalise on the advertising, next year, then they're missing a trick, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the organisers could be absolutely on it with you must wear a mask when in a crowded area. So if you're down the front, please wear a mask. If you've gone into one of the tents, please wear a mask. I mean, they could even go one further and say you need to have a negative result within the last 2 or 3 days of taking it before coming to download.
Yeah.
No negative result, no entry.
Yeah. But what I have seen is that applications for festival staff are about to open, aren't they?
They are. So this is also good news for the festivals that are coming up next year. They're confident enough to say that, right, we are going to go ahead. We need to get our volunteers in. So the application process for volunteers starts in February of 2021. Again, I see that as really good news that, like I said, they're confident enough to say, right, we are going ahead. Now we need people to come and work with us.
It's a very, very positive sign, isn't it?
Very positive.
Because I know you Lee, I know you love the idea of working at a music festival or event or something like that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'd want to do the bar work or any of these sort of let's say the hospitality side of it again, or the bars and the food and everything like that. Yeah. I'd like to be behind the scenes, whether it's help putting a stage up, whether it's meet and greeting the bands, or whether it's something like that, something like the event management, sort of that side of it. I'd love to do that. It sounds so good on paper, but I mean, I've spoken to one of them before, and he says it's stress, but once it all goes well and everything's all right, it is fine. But there is if something goes wrong, it goes fucking wrong.
Events is really fun to work in. I used to work in events, and one of my jobs actually was working at Download, and I was security. I was the stewards in yellow that would direct you or tell you where the toilets were, or I don't think I was security then. I wasn't security. No, I was a steward. So I was showing you where you needed to go, answering your questions, and pulling you out of the crowd if you were in trouble. Which it was 2013.
Would you be one of the people that would have caught me as I'm crowd surfing over the barrier?
Yes, I did. Yes, that was me. And in 2013, Slipknot were playing, and I was in at the on the main stage there, pulling so many. I must have pulled hundreds of people out of that crowd that night. That was extraordinary, but it was fun.
I can imagine it being fun. Obviously, you're in front of a big band like Slipknot. I mean, I know you can't watch it. You've got to be facing the crowd for any sort of danger. But were you ever tempted, like just for a second, I'll look over my shoulder? Oh, look, it's Corey Taylor.
Honestly, I was too busy during Slipknot. I really wanted to during Motorhead because Lemmy was on, and it was. I don't know if it's the last time that they performed at Download. It was certainly one of the last, if not the last. But I was there at least, even if I didn't see them, which was amazing.
Yeah, I think you're right. That was the last time that Motorhead did Donington, because they were supposed to play in 2016, but literally a few months before, that's when he died. Wow. Lemmy, that's when he died. So you may have seen one of the last performances of Motorhead at Donington.
That's incredible. And it was great as well. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, if I'm honest, that's probably one band that, as well as like Linkin Park, knowing that I'm never going to see those two bands, it's heartbreaking.
That's the thing about being festival staff, is you never know what you'll see, and you know you never know what situation you're going to find yourself in. You never know who you're going to meet. It is very exciting. I loved working at Download, but I've never worked at it since. I've always been a paying punter.
A paying punter? That sounds like an insult.
Would you work at Download, Dave?
Yeah. The only trouble is I think I wouldn't be working. I'd constantly be trying to look at all the bands and all the artists and that. So
yeah, I suppose it's hard to switch from that perspective of being a punter to somebody who's working.
I'd rather just be able to sort of come and go as I please sort of thing, and not have to worry about pouring pints or all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you're not going to see much from the bar, are you, really?
No.
Because they're all facing...
But if it would be a good experience, though, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think at least once to work at a festival or a gig or an event or something like that is beneficial, definitely. So that's the news. Next, we'll get some advice about going to Download in the guide. In this section, we'll try and answer your questions about what it's like to go to Download Festival. Things we recommend and things to avoid. This week, campsites. So, we have a lot of experience and knowledge about the campsites at Download Festival. As well, you may do. So if you spot anything that we've missed or anything that you think we should have spoken about but didn't, do leave us a voice message. Go to anchor.fm/Festpod and click on message and have your say as well. So, campsites, you can't really avoid them unless you're not staying in them, unless you've got, you've paid more and you're staying at a hotel nearby, or you're going for the RIP options. But even then, you're in a campsite. So what would you say where would you head if you've just bought a ticket for Download and you want to camp in the best place? Where would you head to?
Personally, if I was going to be going back to general camping again, I'd be going quiet camp. My partying days of up till 3 a.m. are well and truly over. But for those that do love, they are the party animals, they are the night owls. You want to go to the biggest campsite where there's going to be loads of people there doing exactly the same thing.
So it depends what you want really from your campsite. If you want to sleep, you can go to quiet camp, or if you want to party, you can go to blue camp, let's say.
So that's not necessarily true anymore because whilst the new layout, blue camp is next to the village.
Yeah.
The biggest campsite, which is what traditionally blue was, it was the biggest campsite. I'd almost suggest going to the biggest campsite because then there's going to be thousands of people there doing the same thing that could potentially be up till 3 a.m. doing all the partying. I think the smaller the campsite, the more quieter it will be, and obviously the further away from the villages and stuff like that, it's going to be quieter. Blue camp for 2021 being next to the village, you could be right. That could be the party camp. Traditionally, blue has always been the party camp.
Anything goes, doesn't it, in blue?
Or this was the traditional way, because blue camp was so big that that's where everybody went to, or they know blue camp as the party camp. So
yeah.
For things that are changing in 2021 with blue camp not being the biggest anymore, will that be the big party camp?
Where are the loudest shouts of Alan gonna come from next year?
Well, I got to put my money on yellow camp being the biggest and being I think generally just being the biggest campsite, you're going to get more people when you shout Alan.
This is it. I'm not even sure why people shout Alan. Do you know why?
It's from Stephen Partridge, isn't it? Alan Partridge. Wait, what's his name? Steve Coogan. Sorry,
that's people shouting Dan, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, obviously in that is.
I think. Do you know what? It's just come to me now. I think there's like a little video. You know these little videos that go around. I think it's like a chipmunk or something, and someone has done a voiceover of it, and as it's doing its little chirp, it's going Alan, and somebody for some reason liked it and started shouting it at Download, and it's just caught on forevermore.
I think it's a big festival thing because wasn't there? I think traditionally at Reading, there's the nice one, brother.
Oh, really?
I can't remember what film it's from. It's from a Danny Dyer film, and they started doing it at Download last year. Nice one, brother. That got tedious on the second day.
Some of the shouts that people do at night time when you're trying to sleep are funny, but some of them are annoying, aren't they?
So it was the Monday morning, and it had gone all night on the Sunday. It was the last day, and we were all camped in White Camp, which was on the border of Blue, and people that were on the other side of the fence were shouting over, "Fuck you, White Camp!" We were like, and "Fuck you, Blue Camp!"
Yeah, it was.
But
that was fun.
Blue
Actually.
Blue Camp got the better of us because obviously there were so many more of them. And you could hear this one woman or a young lady says, "Will you shut the fuck up?" And she's like, "Why don't you go home?"
Have you ever shouted any of these phrases, Dave?
I think no. I'll just say no to that.
Have you got a favourite?
He's a,
What? I can't really think of any, to be honest. I like walking through the like the throngs of people and then just randomly picking up on conversations that other people are sharing.
Oh, you like earwigging?
Yeah.
I see. Well, yeah, it is. I remember being sat around. It must have been last year, 2019, and I think I was visiting your camp, and you overheard people talking about bras or something, and you were very, very interested in listening to what the neighbours were talking about.
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either, in fairness.
Yeah.
But for bras, bras are an interesting subject. Obviously, we don't have to wear them. Well,
We don't have to wear them.
nobody has to. No one has to wear them.
No, but you were very interested, and I remember that's the thing. You can get to know your neighbours, can't you, in the campsites?
That's one of the best things. If you're camping near people, and you get to know your neighbours, I think it's more like a security blanket. Really, you get to know them.
Yeah.
And you'd like to think they wouldn't shit on their own doorstep. So if something does go wrong, you can always count on them to say, like, did you see anything or something like that. We obviously, I think it was 2017. We met those group of girls, didn't we? And obviously they came to our campsite, and we were just we all chilled and had beers at our camp. It's that sort of comfortable feeling at Download, where you can just literally bump into anybody, or you start talking to your neighbours, and everyone then sort of having a drink with each other.
Yeah, and it made it a lot more fun than just us.
We are fun people, but yes, having other people there did make it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, it was exciting because you didn't know what was going to happen next. I think it was the consumption of alcohol and the giddiness. It all added up to a fun time, which we all enjoyed.
I did. Do you know what I do think that 2017 is probably one of the best memories, because we had obviously the extra people with us. That, like you say, you didn't know what was going to happen, whether it be wrestling in the muds, or people falling into gazebos and making asses of themselves, or
It was a good year.
it was. You know what? It was a good year.
So people like to plant flags on their camps, don't they? So they can easily find it when they're pissed, or it's nighttime and it's dark. And people like to decorate their camps with inflatable animals. So you can make it nice, can't you? You can make it quite cozy, actually. We
had a shark last year, didn't we?
That was mine.
What did you call the shark?
I think it was Bruce or something like that.
Bruce the shark.
Bruce.
Yeah.
But like Finding Nemo.
It took too long to deflate on the Monday morning, so I had to leave him there.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I know, this is the thing. And the campsites, at the end of the weekend, you're encouraged to take all your shit with you. Take your tent down, take your rubbish, take your chairs, take your beds, take everything with you, because if you don't, and half the other people who are there don't, it's a lot of shit to clear away for the people who work there. And actually, it's going in the bin.
Yeah, so they've actually got another separate campsite called Eco Camp, where you have to take everything with you. The whole purpose of it is it's more of an environmentally friendly sort of patch of land where you pitch in your tent. You have to take everything with you. You have to be responsible to recycle all your cans, any sort of card or whatever, and take every little bit of rubbish with you, which I think should just be across the board anyway. I know some people, by the time you get to Monday, some people can be a bit like, oh, I can't be asked. But it's just that taking that extra responsibility over your own stuff that we all really should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to admit to leaving broken tents behind. But I mean, Donington seems to break my tents. For some reason, Donington eats tents. But I always made the effort to put it into a bin. But I have to say that there weren't enough bins at Download for things like that. Because if you've got broken, muddy tents, you don't want to take that home with you. So if you haven't really got the option of taking it home with you because it's broken and muddy, you want to bin it. And if there aren't enough bins around, or if the bins are overflowing, then I'm not surprised that people it's wrong, that people leave it behind, but I'm not surprised that people do.
They have got good, like recycling, like every year they update it or improve it. And I remember, I think it was either last year or the year before, they had these massive boxes,
do you mean the different coloured recycling bins?
Yeah, and you could you could toss in like whatever plastics or bottles or whatever. Well, not bottles.
So that's the problem. That's the problem with tents and gazebos. It's because there's so much material in them. People could get confused of obviously what they're supposed to recycle or where you're supposed to bin it. The thing I have against gazebos, whilst they are brilliant if it's pissing with rain and you got a little bit of shelter, the plastic outer sheet is non-recyclable. Putting it straight into a bin's fine, but it will still end up on landfill. The metal pipes, metal obviously, and again plastic. The plastic doesn't recycle. So, I mean, I agree with you, Neil. I get why people don't, whilst they should. But I think, Download have over the last, like Dave said, Download have over the last few years have made the effort to make sure the carbon footprint and all the punters are recycling better.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about scores of thousands of people, I mean, how many people do you reckon actually camp at Download? It's got to be 50,000 easy, do you think?
With the capacity for the arena itself is about 100. So yeah, I'd imagine half of that is in the camp.
So when you've got that many people, it could easily be more. It could easily be more than that. So they've got to cater for the rubbish and tents of 50,000 people, and I can understand why they struggle. Absolutely, it's a hard one to tackle, but it's something to think about before you go. What are you going to do with anything that you buy? Are you going to take it with you? Because remember, once you've bought stuff or brought stuff to the campsite, you're going to have to take it back to your car, and that is potentially a bit of a walk. And can you be bothered? If not, I would say don't bring it, because you don't want to. Because people get really, on these Facebook groups, the Download Facebook groups, people get really angry about this, don't they? They get really animated and passionate, and I can understand it completely.
I think that's the best piece of advice you can give to someone that's never camped there before. Only take what is consumable and you are willing to take home.
And the campsites are, because they've got to cater for so many people, the campsites are huge. So you have to be prepared for a bit of a walk. So next year, 2021, the campsites are going to be nearer to the car parks, aren't they? But even so, it's still going to be a walk, and it's not going to be a nice walk necessarily.
No, I mean, when they like to advertise it as like it's only a 15-minute walk from the furthest point of the car park to the campsites. And whilst on paper it sounds fantastic, 15 minutes, that's not a problem at all.
That's nothing. No.
You got to remember. Yeah, you've got to then remember all the stuff you've got on your back or in your trolley that you're going to have to for 15 minutes or for that distance. You've then got to take it, which could take you a lot longer.
Yeah, this is it. It's 15 minutes walking without any crap. But when you're carrying heavy stuff that you've got, your heavy camping stuff that you've got to use for 5 days or whatever, it can certainly weigh you down, and it can certainly make you, regret bringing so much. I will always regret bringing so much, but to be honest, I think I'm bringing less every year because I don't want to camp with nothing. I don't just want a tent and that's it. I want a chair, I want a bed, I want covers, I want my clothes, and it all adds up. And there's stuff that you can't really say, oh well, I'm not going to bring that this year, because you've got to bring it to have a good time. So you end up bringing it with you, and it's all heavy. So you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't, really. So it's best to be sensible as much as possible.
Ask questions to, again, like ask us questions, obviously, like we've advertised already. Ask people on the Facebook forums, ask people on the download forum themselves, how to pack lighter. I mean, sleeping bags. You need a sleeping bag as you get comfortable. If you're not too bothered about your back, which I know, we're all in our 30s now, so your back is getting a little bit weaker. You need something more comfortable to sleep on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but if you're 20 years old, it doesn't matter so much. You can turn up with a backpack, and I know people do because I've seen it with my own eyes, with just a tent and some clothes, and just lay on the floor. But I would really, if you're bothered about comfort or warmth, don't do that because it's freezing cold.
Oh, big time. I mean, the last time I went camping with my fiance, this was, I think, beginning of September. It was very warm during the day, but even then, we had 2 blankets each. We were in full fleece-lined pajamas. We were covering our faces to make sure we were warm under the blankets as well. I'd have put my bobble hat on if I'd had it. It does get incredibly cold.
Dave, you always seem to pack light, if I recall correctly. You always seem to come with very little. How do you manage that?
I end up realising I haven't packed enough. Basically. But yeah, it's definitely something you should research beforehand. Like, make a list of things you think you need, or obviously make a list of the essentials like your tickets and your tent and stuff. But then try and cut down on as much as you can, really. Like, I always pack too many t-shirts because I end up buying like 2 or 3 when I'm there, and then I wear them. So it's definitely a good idea to plan beforehand.
People always end up taking those little trolley things, a little box with wheels to put things into, but unless you get a good one, it's going to get stuck in the mud. So that made my life a hell of a lot easier last year, bringing a trolley with wheels. But like you say, try and find one that is really sturdy, because some people, I think the one that I've got, I have seen it. I have seen the same sort of one in a ditch with only 2 wheels. But I mean, if you take care of it whilst you're taking it to your campsite, it can be your best mate when going from your car to the camp. Oh yeah, it's always an adventure for absolutely everybody, getting from the car park to the campsites with all your stuff, and doing it with any dignity whatsoever, because you'll see people sat on the road, just having a rest, because it's quite hilly actually, Donington. You don't remember necessarily that you're going to have to climb some quite steep hills, even if it's only for a few minutes. But when you've got some heavy shit with you, you notice it. So yeah, be ready for that.
So last year when it rained heavily and they stuck us into a different car park last year, do you not remember when so from the car park you go downhill, then you're on a flat to get towards the cube, and you've got to go up that really steep incline to get to the Tarmac Lake.
Yeah.
And even by the Wednesday afternoon, after it rained all day, or drizzling all day, and you got people walking through it, that hill was just mud, and getting up and down it with your stuff, slipping.
Yeah. It was a muddy hill, basically, wasn't it? Yeah.
Very muddy hill.
But if you're on your own and you're planning on camping, there is a Camp Loner, isn't there?
Yeah, so that's organised by a chap called Ben. I've met him a couple of times. He's a very friendly guy. And basically, yeah, it's as it sounds, Camp Loner. If you go on your own, make sure because it's first come, first serve. You don't have to sign up to anything. It's literally first come, first serve. And if you go in there, you camp and you're on your own, pitch a tent, and eventually you won't be Camp Loner anymore. You will meet other people that have gone on their own. and you have a whole new set of friends by the end of the festival.
Definitely worth considering. So don't forget, you can ask us questions or give us your viewpoint by sending us a voice message. Go to anchor.fm/festpod and click on message. Tell us your do's and don'ts, tell us about something we've missed, or just give us your opinion. That's at anchor.fm/festpod and just click on message. Next up, we'll look back on our memories of Download in the Legend. In this section, we'll look back on some of our memories of downloads gone by. Now, I remember, and I can't remember exactly what year this was. I reckon this was something like 2016. But I was chatting to somebody in the main arena. You know, you just get chatting to somebody, holding a beer, having a moment to yourself, and you just get chatting to people, don't you? Somebody who told me that he was the guitar tech for somebody, I forget now. He said he knew who the secret artist was and when and where they would be. Now, this ended up being on the stage with Lawnmower Death. I don't know if you've ever seen Lawnmower Death.
Yeah, they were on the Zippo stage or second stage in 2018. I was walking past them, thinking I'd heard them doing obviously on the lead up and research, so they were all right. If I see them, I see them. If I don't, I don't. But I'm really glad I did.
Yeah,
so much fun.
They are a really fun band, actually. And they were on stage with the secret artist, who was Kim Wilde. Now, that probably doesn't mean...
Oh, nice.
I'm surprised you even know who Kim Wilde is, to be really honest. Just joining in.
Yeah.
Well, Kim Wilde was a huge star in the late 80s, early 90s. And a bit of a pin-up as well. And she had some huge hits. See, I'm tempted to make another joke there, but I'm not going to.
I thought you it sounded like you were going to say huge something, and it was definitely right. Or it could have been.
No, I stopped myself for taste and decency's sake. But she sang Kids in America on stage with Lawnmower Death, and it was one of the most bizarre and fun things I've ever seen at Download. It was, and the crowd was huge. This was in the what they call it now, the blue tent at the top.
Okay, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called now, but the other stage, and it was so much fun. So if you were there and you remember that, so I was there too. Dave, what's your memory of Download?
I think it was 2016 actually, which was my first ever Download. One band who I'd seen a couple of times before, I think in Bristol or Exeter or somewhere, is Tesseract. They're really good, fantastic metal band. And they were playing on the Zippo stage. So I made a note to make sure to go see them there. And then right at the end of the set, Dan, the singer, said, "Oh, we're going to be playing again later today on the Firestone stage," which I think was only there for 1 year, or it must have been the last year it was there in 2016.
I've seen that. Yeah, it's only a tiny, tiny little stage, like a van, isn't it, or something?
It's kind of in.
It was an acoustic stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of in between like food bands.
Yeah,
it's just kind of randomly kind of placed in there. But yeah, I think over the weekend they must have just had acoustic sets from bands that were already playing on other stages. And so they played again. So I saw them twice in one day.
Oh, brilliant!
And both fantastic sets. So
yeah, I'm not.
I always miss the those sort of sets, because I think Sumo Psycho did it last year, and I was really worried to go and see them. They did it in the Danish Quarter.
Yes, I've seen the video on YouTube, and I regret.
And I always miss them, because obviously I'm quite a stickler when it comes to my time at Download. I list all the bands I'm going to see, and I will go and see every band that I've listed, and then forget to take a wander around and just bump into something else. Like against Sumo Psycho at the Danish Quarter, that looked like a lot of fun. I'm actually quite good at it.
That is the good thing about download, is that there's always something happening, and sometimes you can just be walking past and see something that you otherwise would have missed completely.
That's so true.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Lee, what's your memory?
So I mentioned Danish Quarter just then. Basically, that was something quite new for last year, where Carlsberg had almost done like a pop-up pub. It only sold export in Carlsberg and the Samsby cider. And they had a DJ in there, and also like I said, they did a few acoustic sets from some of the bands that have been playing during the day. My specific memory to the Danish Quarter was you and I, Neil. We just finished watching a band somewhere. I thought, right, just need to sit down for a bit before we go and watch Slipknot.
Yeah.
And we're having a couple of pints, chilling out, and you just feel this atmosphere. Like everybody's in there having a good laugh. Obviously, you get all the DJs playing the typical music. You've got Walk by Pantera, you've got Rollin' by Limp Bizkit, Last Resort by Papa Roach, but then out of nowhere, you got Sandstorm by Darude, which is typically a nightclubby sort of dancey sort of tune. And I thought to myself at first, one, this is a banger.
Yeah.
Two, is it the right sort of music for this atmosphere in this festival? But out of nowhere, you hear everybody just singing along to it, and I just think that's amazing. We're not all miserable, doom and gloom metalheads that only listen to one particular genre of music. We do know other things, and Darude is just one of those. Sandstorm is just one of those songs where anybody and everybody can jump up and have a laugh, and that's exactly what happened, and I absolutely loved it.
Do you know what?
I mean,
the atmosphere in that place was on fire, wasn't it? It was so high, and everyone was just having a great time in what felt like a pub. You're right; it did really feel like an outdoor pub. It was great.
Joe, and there are rumours that it is coming back, and I really do hope it is. I know, obviously, if they have to control these sort of things and not have such an enclosed area, I get it, it's fine, but I really, really, really hope that the Danish Quarter does return, because, yeah, I mean, it was just somewhere that you could literally, you could sit down, you could charge your phone if you needed to. There was charging ports. It's somewhere just to sit down and obviously just take a moment to relax before you go and find the next band. I hope it comes back.
Yeah, because I think we went in there with the intention to spend about 10 minutes, sat down with a beer, and then we must have spent about an hour.
We did. We spent a long time in there. I mean, I think you got chatting to a couple of blokes, and another couple of blokes noticed a t-shirt that I was wearing, my Bloodstock Festival t-shirt. Yeah. So I got talking to a few blokes about that.
Just like a metal pub, wasn't it? It was so much fun.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about Download. You can see someone in a T-shirt that you recognise you like, and you can just automatically go up to them and say, "I love that band," or "I love your T-shirt." And you were wearing, what was it? Who's the blonde lady from EastEnders that you had on your T-shirt?
Sharon Watts.
That's it. Yeah, and I remember you coming up to me and saying that, I've had so many people talk to me about my top. I was like, it's her from EastEnders, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got this amazing T-shirt of Sharon. Depending on when the last time you watched EastEnders was, it's either Sharon Mitchell or Sharon Watts from Albert Square. As just an iconic figure on the front of this T-shirt, and it's just a bit of fun. I only ever wear it at Download, but it doesn't half get people. If it's a conversation starter, if you want to meet people, that's wear something like that, and people do. People go dressed up as bananas, and people go dressed up as babies, and all sorts, don't they? So if you want to meet people, get dressed up.
Definitely.
So that's all we've got time for today. We'll see you on our socials. Just look for Festpod. And don't forget to send us a voice message by going to anchor.fm/Festpod and clicking on message. Tell us what Download means to you. Ask our advice about going, or give us your memories of going to Download. That's at anchor.fm/Festpod. facebook.com/Festpod and just click on message. So that's it. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hello, Dave!
I wasn't sure if I was up to date.
You're
Are you
daydreaming, Dave.
Are you going to say bye?
See you later.
There we go. That's all I wanted.
That's so camp.
Yeah, you're not going to delete that out, are you? Because
No, that's staying in. A Wilco Productions podcast. Alan!